Process. This meeting to order, at 5:30. And the first thing I want to mention is that I can only stay for about 20 minutes myself because I have to be at the Council on Aging for the Council on Aging Board meeting, because I have to be there for something to do with the relocation, possible relocation of the Council on Aging. So I apologize for leaving in about 20 minutes. But let's go right into this and hopefully get through our votes before the end, before we don't have a quorum. So the first is the vote to approve the December 18th minutes, the SBC minutes, emailed on the 30th. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second. Any discussion? All the ayes say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? No. Very good. Thank you. It's adopted. So we have bills and payments. Vote to approve the following invoices. I'm going to skip the invoice number for the sake of simplicity and just read the date, the amount. So FedEx on December 2nd for the amount of $51.36. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All the ayes say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? No, it's adopted. Okay, very good. Consigli Construction on November 30th in the amount of $3,877,077. Do we have
So moved.
Second.
any discussion?
Yeah, there is one thing we ought to point out to the group. The reason we didn't act on this application last month was that Griffin Electric had reached substantial completion of their portion of bid package 2, was it? And the retainage had been reduced to 0. So just by way of explanation, so everyone's on the same page and understands, we withhold 5% retainage on every contract, whether it's the general contractor or any of the subs. When they get to 99% of the work in that contract by dollar volume, then we are asked to declare substantial completion of that. That takes the retainage and then reduces it from 5% to something less than 5% based on the value of the punch list of the work that they need to do to get from substantial completion to final completion. And so the auditor had some questions on that because we had not voted to declare substantial completion for Griffin for that particular work, nor to reduce it from 5% to 1% or from 1% to 0. And she was absolutely correct. So we had a meeting with the city solicitor, the auditor, the mayor, Barry Lacasse, Gail, not sure if anyone else was in the room, but, and we went through the statute and we all got on the same page. So we are now in a position where, as I understand it, as long as we vote tonight in a few minutes to decrease Griffin's, to declare substantial completion for Griffin and to decrease their retainage to 0, that she will approve this requisition. So does that Everybody understand that procedure?
Yep.
And so when we get to this document a little bit later, we'll explain to you how that will come into play, that process, as we go forward. So that's the explanation.
Thank you, Jack. No questions about that? No? Very good. Moving on to the next.
Well, we got to vote.
Oh, we did vote. Okay, we did vote. That's right. Sorry. I thought we did. True, we did not.
We have a motion.
We have a motion.
Second.
Okay, second, Jack did discussion. All the ayes say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? No. Very good, thank you. Consigli Construction, application number 8 on December 31st in the amount of $4,805,363. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Second, any discussion? No. All the ayes say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? No, very good. Skanska on January 6th for the amount of $117,900.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? No. All the ayes say aye.
Aye.
Nays? No, very good. Castle Blues on December 27th for the amount of $716,651.
So moved.
Second.
All, discussion? All the ayes say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? No, very good, thank you. Briggs Material Testing on December 28th in the amount of $13,989.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? No, all the ayes say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Not very good. Total amount that we just voted on was $9,531,031.36. What was that, 36 cents? 36 cents, the top one, very good, okay. So, project update, so,
Maybe what we ought to do
We
is
should probably
go
just keep
down
doing
and
votes, yeah.
approve the OALs on the bottom. And then
Same
we
thing.
can go to the contingency transfers, and then we can let Steve take over for the update and all the rest of that
Sure.
stuff. So that
Okay,
way
agreed,
we
yeah, same
take care of
thing.
your schedule.
okay, very good. So we have the OALs, the OAL 19 drywall to Century Drywall Incorporated. Vote to improve the amount of $11,540.
11
I'm sorry,
million.
11 million.
We wish.
11 million, 11 million, yes, okay. $11,545,950.
So moved.
Second. So Steve, do you want to just give a brief explanation?
Yeah, so real quick, we went out to bid. There was 4 successful bidders. We brought in the 3 of them for full D-scope with Skanska KBA, vetted the full scope out, and landed with Century Drywall under the budget, even including some allowances that we wanted to put on top of their normal scope of work. It still puts us at $246,000 under the projected budget for the drywall. So it's drywall scope, both interior and exterior, and then there's some soffit, EFS and GFRG material on the facade of the building as well that's included in this package.
Thank you, Steve. Any questions, comments? No? It's very good. Do we have a, do we do the motion? We have a motion.
We have a motion.
We have a
and a
motion,
second.
second. Now, do we have, all the ayes say aye?
Aye.
Any nays? No, very good. And OAL number 20, the HVAC, Art and Engineering for $31,997,700. Do we have any
So moved.
Second.
Second, discussion? Steve?
Yep, so this one, just to refresh everyone's memory, this one's a little bit different, or a lot different, actually. It was originally a public trade bid. We had one bid that ended up being disqualified, so we went back out to bid to 4 different companies. We brought in the low 2, again, for a full D-scope with Skanska, KBA, and the engineers. And we landed on Arden Engineering, who actually was the original bid that was disqualified. So they remained as low bidder. So this package includes, it's the HVAC, so it's the ductwork, it's the air handling units that go on the roof, it's air conditioning and heating and cooling, and as part of this, we also bought in to use the permanent system as part of our temporary heat system as a cost savings to the project. So the first winter will be this winter, actually next winter, so 2020 through 2021, we have external temporary heaters that we will rent and temporary ductwork that we'll use to heat the building. That's to the tune of $450,000. And then the following winter, where the building will be enclosed, we'll utilize the air handling units that are already on the building and use that as our temp heat, but we've bought in extended warranties, extra filter changes, belts and suspenders, and doing that for the second winter is a lot less costly than the temporary system. So that's built into this award as well, that we're gonna, that approach, we're taking that approach. Same thing here as drywall, we also have some allowances on top of the Arden Award, just to protect us for some other scopes of work that aren't easy to identify right now. We don't know the exact quantities, we just know there's some like fire safing and different things like that that is part of this scope, but probably not going to be completed by Arden. So that's worked into the number as well. And unfortunately, this is the one that is over budget by 7.5 million, which obviously isn't great news and sounds scary, but just to remind everyone, if we factor in everything that's been awarded to date with these trade contracts, plus the HVAC, plus the drywall, we are still 1.4 million under the projected budget. So we were able to absorb this large hit from buy savings from the other trades. So overall, we're still looking very good, budget-wise.
I have a question.
Yes.
What was the bid that Arden previously put in? Did it go up the second time?
It went up a little bit. The original bid, they got some concessions from the unions because they had competition against non-union trades. So the union kicked them some money. When it went back out the second time, it went out, ended up being all union contractors. So they did not give any concessions to Arden. So their bid went up a little bit. But
Yeah.
they also didn't have to provide a bond, so it came down a little bit. So the net was, it went up probably about, I think it was 400,000 maybe from their original bid. Plus we actually, I feel like we actually have them own a little more scope than they would have owned as well. So that's factored in. But overall, yeah, it did go up
Yeah.
slightly from last time.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions or discussion? We did motion?
Call for a vote.
Call for a vote, yeah. Do we have a motion?
It's motion and second.
Motion second. All the ayes say aye?
Aye.
Nays? No, very good. Now, we have more votes coming up, but
Do we want to approve the following contingency transfers? I think we can probably just do those before.
We can do those, I think, will we have a quorum? Yeah, as a group, actually. So if we could ask Steve, the contingency transfers.
Yep.
These are all ones that we've already voted on, or is there any new ones?
So they were signed off. I don't think there's anything new on there. I don't know that there's just a formal vote by the committee.
These are
Is
all
that right,
ones
Gail?
that we've gone over in the change proposal logs.
Exactly.
So there's nothing new
Nothing
here.
new on
Need a
that
formal
list.
vote.
No.
So the auditor asked us to formally take a vote because we're transferring money from the contingency to the project for these items.
Correct.
And so therefore, she wanted a vote for those things. But there's nothing new here. Every one of these we've already gone over in previous meetings as part of the change proposal log and voted to approve.
Yep. And again, not increasing GMP, just shifting funds.
So if you want to just take them as a group.
Let's do it as a go. So it's a vote to approve the following contingency transfers with a total amount of $36,859.26. Do you have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Any discussion? All the ayes say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Very good, that is contingency use adopted. And,
Then we have to approve the retainage reduction for Griffin right above that.
right, so let's, Steve, do you want to talk about the retainage reduction?
Right.
Would you-
So
would you
the,
want to do this first, the substantial completion first?
actually, yeah, Joe, you might want
Okay.
Still applying that?
to handle that.
Yeah, we do.
So we have, and we've been discussing this off and on in our meetings since October, really. We have two substantial completion certificates, one for bid package 1 and one for bid package 2. And before we do retainage reduction, it's been stated that we need to do substantial completion first.
That's,
So, for bid package 1, because there is, one of the things that's been holding this up is that there's an area that has been off and on, and the Brennan Middle School driveway that is not being done at this stage. It's gonna be shifted with Walsh to be done 2 years
Couple
from
years,
now.
yeah.
Down the road. So the bid
Just for
package.
clarity, we are teeing up
Yes.
with the north-south connector, and so what we're doing is deferring, changing that curve that you
Right.
see
Yeah.
there to being teed up. So you can see where the blue fence is, it will go
Here.
right there where the arrow is.
And the rationale from Consigli, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, was that it was easier and safer at this point to leave that as a construction area and leave the driveway where it is, rather than trying to bring the driveway further to the north and then swinging over and have an impingement between where the construction vehicles are gonna have to go around the foundation to the south corner and the driveway for the people
Yeah.
driving.
If everyone can see the cursor, if this new road was constructed, the edge of the road, the curb would be about here, and this piece right here is the corner of the new building. So that is not a lot of room to get large vehicles like steel trucks through. So that's why we elected to see if we could just leave this road as is for a couple of years and allow truck traffic and construction vehicles to get back here and access this backside of the building here.
So I've exempted that work from this substantial completion certificate, and we'll have to go and do another review, inspection, punch list, and another substantial completion certificate at that time to incorporate that into this. The verbiage on this one is that this work includes all work indicated in the contract documents for bid package 1 and subsequent addenda dated February 1, 2019, except for the driveway to Brennan Middle School, which will be completed in the future and authorized under a separate substantial completion certificate. The scope of this accepted work is shown on the attached drawings. I've got 2 sketches in here that show the area to be done, and all associated specifications. The existing condition of this area will be maintained for construction soil erosion by the contractor until the work is completed. That is, we wanted to be sure that all the erosion control that would have been removed when the driveway was completed now has to be maintained as part of the construction work until that work is done 2 years from now. The construction manager has estimated the value of this accepted work to be $50,000, inclusive of a retainage of $5,000, both of which will be withheld from payment until the work is completed. We've attached to this a punch list, which we have not gone back yet and verified is complete because we have not been informed that it's complete. So we're withholding a value of $50,700 as part of that. That is less than the 5% necessary for substantial completion. And of course, that starts the clock ticking at 45 days to complete the work under Mass law. For bid package 2, which includes the enabling areas of the project, the new parking areas around the building, and the one across the street at Highland Park. That also has an accepted area because the landscaping at Highland Park was not complete at the time we did our punch list. And it's still not complete. That'll have to wait until the springtime to be planted with the special butterfly seed mix that the Concom required. So we will be, the text for this states, all work indicated in the contract documents of bid package 2 and subsequent addenda dated April 1, 2019, except for planting at the Highland Park parking lot, which will be completed in the spring of 2020 and authorized under a separate substantial completion certificate. Constables Associates estimates the value of this accepted work to be $5,000, inclusive of retainage of $500, which will be withheld from payment until the work is complete. There is a punch list attached to this for $41,000 for bid package 2. A lot of this work has been done to date, but it hasn't been completed, so we haven't gone back and verified that all the work is done. Once that is done, we'll remove that from the value to be withheld, and then we can issue a final completion certificate.
So are we still holding the full 5%? Or is this a reduction?
We're holding the full 5, with this, we only withhold the value that's, and the estimated of the work to be corrected, plus the value that we're.
So we are reducing the
Yes.
retainage then to the value of the punch list?
Correct,
Okay.
as is required by law.
So therefore, Mr. Mayor, I would suggest that a motion would be in order to accept substantial completion of bid package 1, and then another one for bid package 2, and then to reduce the retainage as recommended by our architect in each of those bid packages.
Very good. So do we have a motion
So
for
moved.
bid package 1?
Second?
All the ayes say?
Aye.
Any nays? Vote, we have a motion for bid package 2.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All the ayes say aye?
Aye.
Any nays? No, very good.
And then to reduce the retainage for one, and then the retainage for two.
So moved.
Second
All the ayes say aye?
Aye.
Very good.
and two.
And now the vote to,
Reduce the retainage
Reduce
for bid
ret-
package two.
reduce the retainage from bid package two.
So moved.
Second.
All the ayes say
Aye.
aye? Very good. All the nays? No, very good.
And then we have to finally vote to reduce the retainage to zero for Griffin Electric for bid package two.
Yep.
Becky?
So moved.
Second.
All the ayes say aye?
Aye.
Any nays? No, very good. I have to go to council on aging now. So you
We
guys-
have completed all the votes.
All the votes.
Thank you.
And
So,
actually, it would have worked out because we have a quorum meeting without me, so.
so I'll take over.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
As long as we're talking about numbers, some of you have the two-sided color version of this. Some of you have the thing that I printed, which is black and white and on 2 pages. But wanted to explain to you what this is and how it will be useful to us going forward. So, we all know that we have 4 bid packages, and we just talked about bid package 1 and bid package 2. So you'll see at the top of the page, the bid package 1, there were 4 contracts. You can see the contractor's name and the amount, and then the total in the second column to the right. And then the same thing for bid package 2. You'll see the 8 or 10 contracts there. The party who was awarded that, and the amount out to the right. Then for bid package 3, the same thing. Looks like there's about a half a dozen of those. And then for bid package 4, it's a little bit different in the sense that the ones that are in red are the ones that we have awarded already right through the HVAC and drywall tonight. The rest of them that are in blue are the estimated amounts, and you'll see out on the far right column, it says that it's not yet awarded. So that takes you over then onto the second page, and you can see that the change orders 1 through 6 are added on the bottom. And then you get to the total CM construction costs of $223,088,312. The pre-construction services for Consigli were $350,000. The OPM contract is $7.6 million. The KBA contract is $20.2 million. There are miscellaneous project costs like utility company fees, testing services, and other things outside of construction. That's another $1.3 million. The furnishing and equipment budget is $4.1 million. We have a construction contingency of $2.2 million, an owner's contingency of $1 million. And then you will see that we have spent through tonight $33,414,219. And we have $226,503,091, which is the balance to finish, which all again ties out to the $259,918,210, which is our budget. So Anjanette and Mary Ann will update this monthly for us.
Correct.
And so the items that are in blue that have not yet been awarded, when they get awarded in the next meeting or 2, they will change over to red. The numbers will still always tie out to the $259,918,210, and then every month as we spend more money, you'll see that number go up and the amount to finish go down. So we had asked Skanska to prepare this because the number of contracts and the number of bid packages was getting a bit overwhelming for some of us, and we thought that by organizing this, we'd all have a much better handle on what we're doing and what we're approving and where the numbers tie out to. So Gail will get this out to us on a monthly basis when Anjanette and Mary Ann update it. And obviously, we're hoping that the numbers that are in blue, that we can beat some of those and save a few dollars, but we're not comfortable with saying that yet. We're on time and under budget now, but there's still a lot of dollars to go. So that's the explanation, if everyone understands that. I don't know if you have any questions or comments on this, but again, to me, it's helpful to organize this project in my mind.
What is the difference between contingency and owner's contingency?
There's a construction contingency and an owner's contingency, and Mary Ann, do you want to explain that?
Yes, the construction manager has their own contingency separate from the owner's construction contingency and the owner's contingency. And one is for change orders and the other is for other types of spending, so it really has to do with cost categories. So the two numbers you see below here, where it says construction contingency for 2.2 million, that's the owner's construction contingency. And then the owner's contingency for 1 million. Because if you look up, well, actually, up above, we're carrying contingencies for the construction manager within the numbers above the line.
So I'm not sure I followed what you just said.
Yeah, but this is, according to the 3011, these are the two numbers that are below the line. So it's called a construction contingency, but the construction manager also has a construction contingency. This one is for the owner.
So do we have $3.2 million for the owner's
Yes,
contingency at this
Yes.
point?
yes.
And then there is also built in above,
We
The-
have the construction manager's contingency as defined in their contract for misscope.
and where does that number show?
It would be in the CM fees and insurances.
The last blue number.
That would be rolled into each bid package.
Each
Okay.
When we
package.
do when they do the pre-GMP amendments, there are all the values that are below the line, below the trade values, and that would be
Okay.
for like SDI, fee, general liability, builder's
Yeah.
risk, and then the contingency is rolled into that number as well. So that's just a total value for each one of the bid packages.
So the 21,787,886 includes construction contingency for Consigli.
That's correct, and that's an estimate at this time. That's not been finalized yet.
And the ones on the first page, the last line on each.
Last line in each section.
On the bid package one, the last line for $750,481. That was also inclusive of contingency for Consigli.
Okay? So we understand the numbers now?
Yes, sorry.
Good. Then I think that probably the next thing we should do is just ask you to give us the monthly update, Steve, and show us what's been going on.
Yeah.
We've seen the project start to go vertical.
Yes, we'll start with the more exciting piece of this rather than a parking lot. Yeah, so steel started on Monday, which is exactly when we predicted it would start and when we scheduled it to start, which is good news. To Jack's point, further confirms we are on time, right? So every day, hopefully it'll start to look a little different. We have steel trucks coming in every day. They're most likely between 1 to 2 deliveries of steel members like this, the columns and the beams, and then there's also going to be steel decking deliveries as well. Pretty much consistent for the next 3 months or so, 3 or 4 months. We'll get a couple of trucks in there. So basically, what they've been doing is they unload the trucks, and then as soon as the trucks are unloaded, they start erecting the steel, and this is what it's going to look like for the foreseeable future. They're going to work their way to the east. This is called this is B building, so they're going to go B to C, and then start working their way south. And then in February, a second crane will start working over an A building and then work its way south. But for now, we're just very excited to see this first crane moving. Other things that have happened since we last met, you can see more foundations and footings have been installed. They're actually ahead of schedule, which is great news. Took advantage of some nice weather because we've got some cold weather coming up that's going to slow things down. So we're ahead of schedule here, but a lot of work has been done. And then we also got some headaches behind us The existing duct bank that was here, that was removed. The electrical work required within the building was done on a Saturday, so that's behind us now. And then if we zoom in here, more exciting stuff. Gas piping, the new gas meter was finally installed on Saturday by Columbia Gas, which is great news. Today they were on site removing the existing gas piping as well, which now allows us to go after this, the footing right here that used to be below the old stack. So that is scheduled for Monday, because there's no school on Monday, so we're gonna be shutting down this walkway here to allow us to get that foundation out, and then we'll patch it back so that there's a good level surface. But then that allows us to complete the foundation work in this area, because the new building actually comes across right about here, and then almost right where the Jersey barriers are is the new foundation for the school. And it wraps around in here by the loading dock, right by the old pool entrance. This is called K Building. So this opens up pretty much all of K Building once that foundation is gone, which is good news and gonna open up a chunk of work for us. And then work will continue in the auditorium foundations here. And then this is the gym. The gym's in pretty good shape. And then the last piece will be this area here, which if we zoom in, these are the existing high-tension poles and wires that are going through the new footprint, as you can see. But good news is Grid is ahead of schedule. With their work, they are, actually in this picture, you can see there's 5 Grid trucks here. This was taken yesterday afternoon. So what they're doing is they're completing the new underground service. It's kind of right through here, and then it connects across the street here to this new pole here. So once they run the new electrical wires underground, test it, get that going, get that up and running, they can then come in and remove these existing wires and these last 2 existing poles that are in the new footprint of the building. And then they will be 100% done with that piece of the work, and we will have no obstructions going after, that will allow us to go after the rest of the foundations and footing. So that's all good news. The other thing that's happening is, slowly but surely, Verizon and Comcast are removing their existing wires that are on these poles here and transferring them to the new poles. That is also good news, because if we look right here, this pole, existing pole, once the existing wires are off of this, they can remove this pole, and this allows us to open up the entrance to the site. This is actually also the location of the permanent entrance once the school is open, but it's also going to be our temporary entrance, so it'll allow trucking to come through here to access the front of the building and then exit over here where our other friend is. This pole is in the way, so both those will be removed. We'll open these gates up and be able to put this temporary, soon-to-be permanent road into the site, which helps with access and gets people off the street. Right now, we are making do with this area here and this area here as access to allow the steel trucks to get in. So we were fortunate that having these existing poles in the way didn't completely slow us, shut us down. So that work is in progress. So Verizon and Comcast will move their lines and then remove the poles, and then we'll be done with Grid until we get to permanent power for the new school, which is a year or so out.
And that pole that's surrounded by Jersey barriers, that's
Yes.
in the traffic circle, that will move soon.
Yeah. So the pole Jack is referring to is this one here. So again, existing pole still has some wires on it. They're gonna get transferred over to this pole here. And Grid is also gonna put the street light back on this pole, and they're gonna put one right here on this pole as well to help brighten up this area here.
We heard from Ann Malley at National Grid this morning that that work should occur next week,
Yes. So that's all good news as well.
because we did have some neighbors rightfully
it's dark.
noting that it was fairly dark out
Dark.
there since the lights were removed.
Yep. Yeah, so that essentially is the update. And hopefully next time we meet, there's much more steel installed here. But like I said, for the next few months, you'll see just a lot of structural steel being erected.
And we have people parking over at Highland now?
Yes, good point. So we've officially opened that up, started using it. You can even see in this picture. We don't have a large workforce on site, but some of them have started to park here. It's all striped, it's all ready to go. We've got the gate here that gets locked up every night. And this is ready for 350 workers.
Good. Anybody have any questions for Steve on the update?
I got a question, Steve. How about instead of using that big crane and tying that up a load in the truck, how come they don't think about using a smaller piece of equipment so the crane can just stay with the erection part of it?
I think part of it is a cost savings to do it this way, and also they will run out of work if they move too quickly. They'll get things erected before the steel can be fabbed and delivered. So they don't want any downtime with the crane because it is so expensive. So they found it's more efficient just to take a couple hours to offload the steel, get them back to Canada to pick up the next load, and then they keep erecting for the rest
It
of the day.
really is a just-in-time kind of thing
Yeah.
to maximize the efficiency of the crew.
Okay. Anybody else have any other questions on the construction progress or where we're going? Good, then I think, do we have a change proposal log to look at tonight?
We do.
Good share.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think-
A lot of gray on here, that's good.
Yes. So again, the reminder, anything that's gray or has a number in the next to last column on the far right, we've already talked about, approved, or made it go away, so we're not gonna have to talk about it again. So we'll just talk quickly about the ones that don't fit into that category, and just the status of them. CR 14, superintendent lot asphalt paving issue. The work is complete. It is in for review by the design team and Skanska. Item 28, excavation of additional loam. That was all the loam that was very deep that we found throughout the site. Most of it was back here in the old field hockey field. So that was quantified, and we're just going through the backup on that with, again, the design team in Skanska. Item 30, existing irrigation, that's on hold until the spring, but we're just trying to find a new home for that so it doesn't get damaged in the future when we have the permanent building in place. Item 33, building foundation revisions. That has been finalized and is in for review. Back page, third item down, item CR 40, foundation revisions. Once again, that one was, has been submitted and we've gone back and forth on that one. Item 41 is a large credit that's in review, as well as item 42. Just a reminder, that was supportive excavation and dewatering that was eliminated over here in Building K based on some redesign of footings and raising some footing elevations there. So that's a good chunk of money coming back. Skip down to CR 47. We technically already, we okayed that. That has to do with the western field. If that moves forward, then this will be applied there. So it's on hold for now. Item 49 was some tweaks to the edge of slabs on some of the decks. That has been priced, and that is with the design team right now. Item 50 was a request from the city to add a concrete pad at the new sewer pump station. You can kind of see it here in the picture. It was gravel originally, and then they looked at it and they thought it would be better for access to have this all in concrete, and will allow them to clear snow a lot easier in the winters as well. Item 51, trace and reroute existing duct bank at Building K. So that's the one that I referred to earlier that was completed over the weekend. So the existing duct bank was undocumented. It was found in this area here. It's been removed and the electrical work completed. We just have to finalize the cost there. Item 52, again, the city had some additional requests for some attic stock, some spare pumps and some spare parts associated with the sewer pump station.
And just a note on that, we talked to the auditor, and we determined that we can save the contractor's markup by having the sewer department order those things themselves and then bill the project. So, once we have final numbers, this may change.
Yep.
But this would be with the contractor doing it, and we hope to save some money by having sewer department order those things directly. And the information was provided by Craig to Tom Hayes and by Joe. And it was, they're in the process of ordering those things now.
Skip down to 54, CR 54, Walsh Bid Package 1 and Bid Package 2 contract reconciliation. There were some allowances within their contract that we did not end up using, so that kind of just cashes them in. That's savings going back to the project. Item 55 is just a holding spot right now for all the jumping around that the site and concrete sub have been doing associated with things like these poles here that are in the way, and then this gas line over here. We're trying to mitigate this as much as possible and work with them to get them more efficient and reduce that number as much as possible. So that's just a plug for now.
It's not based on any submitted
No.
proposals?
Nope.
No.
Item 56, drainage at the south lot. So in the back of the school. Spin you around here, get everyone busy. So in this location here, there's some ponding. When we get some heavy rain, this area ponds, and it doesn't appear that there's a slope issue or any damaged pipe or anything. So what we're going to try to do is dig out this area here, add some stone, create like a little dry well or a spot for all the water to go to. So we have an estimated cost for that. That work is actually going to take place between Friday and Monday. Again, Friday's a half day for the school. Monday, there's no school.
Rob, did you have a question?
He just answered it.
Okay.
So, because there is a student memorial in that area.
Okay.
So I can explain that in more detail after the meeting, but
Okay.
that's something we've been looking at, trying to get to the family of the student. So if you're moving it, we just want to make sure that it
Okay.
stays intact.
Absolutely. Yep. And we're going to be careful digging in here too, because we were warned by the facilities department there's some underground electrical here that's pretty close to the surface, so we can take a look at that at the same time.
Hopefully, it's not touching the memorial.
Right. Item CR 58, Building F brace frame revisions. That was a minor design change that we have the structural steel sub looking at right now. And then item CR 59, Bill had asked that we add some barriers and a walkway in this location here that you can see, because with the new reconfiguration and closing down the pool entrance, a lot of the students and student athletes walk this area now, and this is a popular spot for them to get picked up at the end of the day. So we're going to create a safe area for them to be able to walk from kind of over in this area, down along the building, and then to this corner here to be picked up. So we're going to add some jersey barriers, and where you see greenish brown here, we're going to make this a walkway. We're prepping it for asphalt, so they'll have the sub base done in the next week, and then once the weather breaks, we'll put paving down here to make it last the 3 years and allow for snow plowing in the winter. So Bill asked for that. Again, this work we're going to complete between Friday and Monday as well.
While you have it there, I don't
What's
know if
that?
you go upward a little bit.
Yep.
Somebody, a couple weeks back, left that parking area and drove between Rick Correa's house and his
Here.
next-door neighbor. And so the request was made that we put some sort of a physical barrier at the back end of that parking lot where that last row of cars are. Yes, people will do amazing things, Rob. And so the best and cheapest solution is that a bunch of boulders. I think Mike Tyler has identified some boulders for us, is that
We're
correct?
still researching that.
Still researching that, but we're going to put some boulders there so that we will hopefully discourage people from taking the overland route to get to, is that Pembroke?
Pembroke.
Pembroke over here, right, yeah. So yeah, that's it for the log, Jack.
So these are all just FYIs, no votes yet.
Correct.
Questions?
I talked about this before, and I apologize, I don't want to rehash too much, but I think that was kind of the corridor that one of our now former school committee members, based on feedback, had wanted to, question the lighting coming down there, especially
through
during
here?
winter. So I couldn't tell if we already had the lighting put in.
Yeah, this light is in
Ah,
place,
okay.
kind of shines this way, and then, we have not heard there's one right here as well that's kind of shining this way, so
Yeah, you can barely see it on that car.
we've not, gotten any other concerns or complaints about that, so we're hoping it's bright now, it's sufficient, but.
Okay.
All the revisions to the lighting that were requested by the building inspector and by Eric, I believe have been completed at this
Yes,
point.
they have.
So, and I know that.
There it is.
The building inspector is here every day, and I'm sure that if there were issues with lighting, he would be bringing it up to us again, but we've added quite a bit since the original package. got
I
on.
knew it was in progress, I couldn't see it, and
Yeah.
once you kind of, zeroed in, I could see the lighting, so, thank you.
It's a night shot, Steve.
Okay, then, anybody have any other business that they wish to bring up? Our next scheduled meeting is February 12th, and suppose we ought to schedule the March meeting while we're at it, right? So the second Wednesday in March is March 11th, according to my calendar. So why don't we schedule February 12th and March 11th? To give us spring to look forward to.
Be here before we know it.
Time changed the week before that.
Yeah, we do push ahead.
Okay, so, any reason why we shouldn't adjourn? Motion?
So moved?
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned at 6:18.